2:14 a.m., Caribbean Sea. The P-8 Poseidon detects 98 speedboats, hauling more than 6,000 pounds of cocaine worth $100 million, heading straight for North America. Not far away lies an Arleigh Burke destroyer worth $1.8 billion, a SEAL team, and 2 Coast Guard cutters, the only shield between the Cartel fleet and U.S. territory. Passive sensors activate. All electronics switch to silent mode. Every weapon station locks, waiting for the perfect moment. The Cartel thinks it's outsmarted America, but in just 27 minutes, the SEALs, Navy, and Coast Guard launch a simultaneous strike the Cartel never saw coming. What really happened in that death corridor? Let's find out. Before the next move unfolds, hit the subscribe button and stay with us. For years, in the Caribbean arc off Colombia, cartels used semi-submersibles, disguised containers, and homemade subs. Every month, more than $100 million in cocaine disappears from Colombia without showing up at any seizure point. From the FBI's signal analysis room, faint radio intercepts begin matching unusual financial transactions. Then the name appears, La Corona del Mar. This is an organization that invented an entirely different transport method. Not one boat, not 5, but a fleet. Reports confirm each run launches 80 to 100 speedboats moving in unison. All boats use ultralight composite that is nearly invisible to radar. They depart from Colombia's Guajira coast, then converge at a blind spot in international waters, an area 200 to 300 nautical miles off Mexico's coast, outside normal patrol range. This time, they're moving more than 6,000 pounds of cocaine, enough to devastate any major city if it all reaches land. That shipment will be divided across 98 speedboats running simultaneously. The FBI understands instantly. No civilian force or coastal pursuit team can handle a swarm of speedboats moving 50 knots at night. To intercept one, you must be ready to intercept the whole thing. The FBI sends a special support request to the Navy and Coast Guard. The 3 agencies combine forces, forming a joint maritime task force with one mission: set a kill box at sea and wait for the Cartel fleet to charge in. The operation is named Operation Black Current. In the Joint Command Room in Florida, the Navy analyzes heat and radar data provided by the FBI. If 98 speedboats run simultaneously at 50 to 55 knots, engine heat signatures will sweep the sea, creating chaotic signals enough to fool most long-range radars. The Coast Guard confirms what the FBI suspected. No civilian vessel can match that speed, let alone pursue when they fan out in a sawtooth formation. The Navy proposes the only viable plan: don't chase 98 boats. Force them to enter a preset trap. Charts are enlarged. Between 2 reef lines is a narrow water corridor with cross currents strong enough that any speedboat wanting to save fuel must maintain a straight course through it. If the Cartel fleet moves as the FBI predicts, they'll charge into this corridor where they can't turn. They just have to wait. Force preparation begins immediately. An Arleigh Burke destroyer is designated as the mothership for the SEAL team. On its deck, 12 SEALs in the boarding team are equipped to disable engines, suppress armed resistance, and capture command elements alive. A high-speed LCS is deployed to the outer ring to lock escape routes. 2 fast response cutters from the Coast Guard form the final blocking layer, pursuing any speedboats trying to breach the perimeter. Overhead, a P-8 Poseidon is on standby, scanning the entire target area with synthetic aperture radar, ready to track the Cartel fleet from hundreds of nautical miles away. Close-range weapons are assigned to MH-60R Seahawks, carrying HITRON, trained marksmen, who can hit a speedboat propeller from 60 feet with inch-level accuracy. While the Navy assembles forces, the FBI provides priority targets. 8 La Corona del Mar, leaders scattered in the central group of boats, numbers 45 to 56. Files show the highest value shipment, including high-purity refined cocaine, is on 3 speedboats right in the middle of the formation. If SEALs seize those 3 boats, the operation ends instantly. 2:14 a.m. The Caribbean Sea lies flat. The P-8 Poseidon circling at 30,000 feet suddenly receives the first signal. Multiple tiny heat dots, moving in sync, high speed, all on a single northwest vector. Poseidon's analysis software concludes, rake formation. The pattern La Corona del Mar always uses to disorient long-range radar. Poseidon's combat team immediately pushes data to the task force. Target alert sounds. At that moment, the command center on the Arleigh Burke destroyer shifts color. The entire map switches to intercept mode simultaneously. Poseidon scans 2 more passes, adding infrared and speed data. The third scan confirms all 98 speedboats have left the Colombian coast. Their speed holds steady at 51 to 55 knots. Soon after, they blend easily with the wind. Inside the Arleigh Burke, the SEAL team stands still on the aft deck. They recheck NVGs, harnesses, wire cutters, sidearms, and engine-disabling tools, just to not let any speedboat detect their presence. 2:48 a.m. The Cartel fleet begins widening left to avoid a reef line. That's the exact move the task force predicted. The cross current here will force them to hold straight if they don't want to burn extra fuel. Just maintain speed, and they'll charge into the death corridor between 2 reef points. A space so narrow that one speedboat turning could throw the whole formation into chaos. 3:10 a.m. Poseidon switches to target lock-on. It continuously updates vectors, sending a new data packet every 10 seconds. U.S. ships remain silent. 3:42 a.m. Poseidon reports a key change. The speedboat fleet shifts to saw running. Each boat offset 5 to 7 meters, creating complex heat reflection. This signals the Cartel accelerating to clear the first reef. But this sawtooth formation forces even spacing. No sudden turns. The task force tracks every move. On the Arleigh Burke, SEALs keep hands on weapons. They know waiting for all 98 boats is critical. Moreover, each speedboat can zigzag rapidly, making SAR struggle to distinguish real targets from background noise. The Cartel knows this, but what they don't know is tonight, they're not being chased. They're being lured. 4:07 a.m. The first sign of the kill box. The lead speedboats cross the invisible boundary, entering the corridor between reef lines. Shortly after, 30 more followed. P-8 reports, all holding formation, no turns. The cross current does its job, forcing each boat straight to avoid flipping or losing speed. In a brief moment, the moment the task force waited, weeks for officially happens. All 98 speedboats fully enter the kill box. On the SEAL commander's screen, the entire death corridor blazes with 98 heat signatures. No one on the Cartel boats knows they've charged into the most sophisticated naval trap ever set to take down a criminal fleet. At 4:12 a.m., an MH-60R Seahawk detaches from the destroyer's deck, tilts rotors, and dives low. In the open bay, a HITRON marksman locks the first target, a speedboat racing over 50 knots. The speedboat jerks, stern bounces, engine sparks, then dies. 12 others share the fate in the first 70 seconds. Below, Coast Guard cutters launch interceptor boats to block any speedboat trying to escape the killbox edge. As marksmen continue disabling engines, some speedboats suddenly ignite. They carry too much bootleg impure and flammable fuel. One pierce at the right angle turns the engine into a bomb. That's a risk the Cartel created, not the US. In the killbox center, the SEAL team waits for the exact moment. When enough speedboats slow, they act. From the Arleigh Burke deck, 3 fast ropes drop in darkness. SEALs slide down in groups, landing on central speedboats where the FBI identified leaders and heaviest cargo. Close quarters combat erupts almost immediately. Cartel members jettison cargo. Large cocaine bales pushed overboard, falling like glistening white chunks under infrared. Some draw crude homemade guns. Short-range weapons only for psychological disruption. But SEALs don't respond with lethal fire. They toss stun grenades, flashing bright, thrown precisely to disorient. On boat number 49, near the formation center, 2 SEALs block front. One leaps from behind and subdues the Cartel commander, known as El Marino. He tries twisting the wheel to escape the kill box, but the final SEAL rips his hands from control and pins him to the deck. Pursuit outside the kill box continues. Interceptor boats tail fleeing ones, but Coast Guard navigation locks the only escape and forces these speedboats into dead ends. 4 are pushed into crosswaves, lose balance, and stop. 2 others try circling out, but get engine-pierced by Seahawk marksmen in 3 shots. No speedboat breaches the perimeter. U.S. forces begin recovery. On the waves, SEALs search every compartment, recovering over 6,000 pounds of cocaine, each marked with La Corona del Mar codes, with devices that hold schedules, coordinates, routes, operator names, and encrypted data. Enough for the FBI to trace the entire international maritime network. Within 48 hours, FBI decodes thousands of coordinates, identifying scattered warehouses in 3 countries, plus internal contact lists, backup routes, fuel contracts, and mid-sea resupply points. This data unveils a complete map of the transport system built over years.